In today's episode, we'll be going through nerve questions. How I'm going to go about this is that I'm going to show you from start to finish how I'm thinking about the question and how I'm approaching it and how I'm going to structure my answer in order to maximize my marks when comparing it to the mark scheme. So, first thing we're going to do, read the question first. It says, using the information provided, explain how TTX affects the activity of neurons. Okay, it's an explain. That's important to know. But it affects the activity of neurons. So, because we've read the question, we don't know what TTX is, we are going to read the information. Right, so it talks about an octopus. Its bite contains TTX. Okay, this sentence, very vital. So it's a neurotoxin that can cause paralysis and death within minutes. Oh god, that's horrendous. Right, so the following information has been discovered about the effects of TTX on nerve cells. So it binds to the external surface of voltage-gated sodium ion channels in the axon membrane. By reading that, I can just predict what the answer is going to be like. Binding of TTX changes the tertiary structure of the channel. Yeah, so the channel doesn't open. Right, think about it. If the voltage-gated sodium ion channel is closed, right, that means that sodium ions can't enter, so there's no depolarization, meaning the membrane will remain at resting potential, so that would not allow an actual potential to be generated, so then the impulse is not conducted, so then therefore there'll be no neurotransmitter being released, secreted, exocytosed, whatever, into the synapse. That's literally the answer. Just predict that straight away. Why? It's because nerves, this topic, is the best for predicting answers for. Let's write that down. I'm 100% confident in my answer because there's nothing else that the answer could be. This is the steps of how an actual potential occurs. Let's check the answer now. Write these points down in your notes. This is literally the structure, how most nerve questions are. So very easy to memorize, and guaranteed 100% on those questions. Okay, next question. It says explain how paralysis of the diaphragm can lead to suffocation. When you think about the diaphragm, you think about volume and pressure and lungs, right? So that's actually how the answer will be like. If suffocation is happening, meaning there's not enough air, well, so if you're breathing right now and you're not getting enough air, what's causing that? Well, that's actually the volume and the pressure in your thorax, right? I can say that I think one of the most key concepts to learn about in biology is the relationship between volume and pressure. So remember that it's an inverse relationship, okay? If volume increases, then the pressure will decrease. If the volume decreases, the pressure will increase, right? If you understand this concept, it will make your life so much easier. Let's just check the answer. Okay. To be honest with you, this question is actually quite tricky. Because if you didn't realise that your main focus of the answer is on the diaphragm, you were speaking about nerves, then you would get 0 marks, right? So always try and identify the actual main topic that the question is talking about. It doesn't matter if it's in the context of, I don't know, nerves or classification. It does not matter. Just see what the subject of the question is. So we got that correct. Nice. Okay, this one. Right, interesting. Is it suggest and explain? What effects this would have on the heart rate? It says TTX is also known to reduce the speed of the conduction in the Purkinje fibers of the heart. Nice. Well, not nice, but in my head I'm thinking, right, but it's a 3 marker. So if it's reducing the speed of conduction, right, immediately a very, very obvious answer is that it will slow the heart rate down. So that's my suggest, I guess. But in terms of my explanation, like a longer time for diastole to occur, and there'll be like a slow transmission of impulse from the AVN to the ventricles, as there'll be slower ventricular systole, which again, all of those kind of enable the reduction in the speed of conduction. Okay, that's my answer. I've given a suggest and I've explained it. Because it's 3 marks, I'm assuming that there'll be 2 marks. Oh, there would be 2 marks for the explain and 1 mark for the suggest. Let's check the answer. Okay. So I was right. All of these are very valid points. Write them down in your notes, because it's all well and good knowing the information, but if you don't know how to write it the way the marking wants, then it's a bit sad. She won't get the marks. Yeah, that is that. Right, now over to you. Try some questions and let me know how it goes.